Good day, students. This is your instructor for art appreciation, Kenneth Alvin Cinco. For this session, I would like to thank you all for, well, it's an advance thank you to those who will be listening. And this would be my request as your instructor. We are discussing art appreciation. So, therefore, I would like you to please listen and watch the presentation, of course, and take notes of the important parts because this will also be included in our assessment and in our quiz. Okay? So, for our session for today, this is the creative process, medium and technique, and also philosophical perspectives in art. Buckle up and let's start. For this presentation, we will be dividing so that our discussion will be organized. We will be dividing the presentation into three. First will be the creative process. The second one is medium and technique. And also, the third one will be philosophical perspectives in art. Now, let's start with the creative process. Basically, the question here is, because last time, I know, and well, I'll just have a little recap. Last time we discussed about artists and artisans, as well as what our government, the Philippines, is doing to honor these living treasures. Alam naman natin na para sa mga artisano, nandyan ang Gamabaw, ang Gawad Manlilikha ng Bayan. At para naman sa mga national artists, nandyan ang Order of the National Artists. Pero, it also begs us the question, what is the creative process of these artists? No, we just look at artists, we just look at their works, we just look at artisans. However, it begs us to ask, what is the creative process of these artists? How do they do their art? And with that knowledge, we can also apply it to how we will do our art. Okay? So, let's try to discover what do they do and what is the process. Now, Robert Fritz has these steps in the creative process. So, he identified 5, no? So, according to him, they start or artists start with conceiving the result. When you do something that is, like for example, an artwork, a visual artwork, a painting, or a graphic design, or a logo, or let's say for example a sculpture or a dance, no, we always start with what is the result. We ask the question, what result would we like to produce or would we like to have? So it creates us in our minds, it creates in our minds this direction. Because if there's no conception of a result, if we don't look at the image of the final product, we can't determine what are we doing, right? So the first step for Robert Fritz is to actually conceive of the result of what we're doing. And number 2, know what currently exists. As what we have discussed, art is actually being original, being creative, right? So, alam natin na dapat ang isang artista ay malikhain. Ano ba ang pagiging malikhain? When we say malikhain, it's actually creativity. But what is creativity? Creativity is going out of the box. So, what is this box that we're talking about? Probably it could be the box of tradition, it could be the box of whatever that has gone before you. Let's say, for example, you are an aspiring poster artist, no? A student who draws posters, uses oil pastel or uses crayons, and you are called to be a participant in a poster making contest. So what edge do you have against the other participants? Because in a poster making competition, you will be given a theme, right? This is the normal thing. as happening in a poster making competition. You will be given a theme, and then upon this theme, you will conceive of your result, and you will have to manipulate your medium, and you will present your poster. However, how will you be judged? You will be judged according to how did you break from what is currently existing. So kung ano man yung mga poster na nagawa na, paano mo iniiba yung sayo? That's one thing. So you have to know what currently exists. Therefore, if you are a writer, you should read. You should read and read. If you are a writer of short stories, you should read and read of books. If you are a writer of poetry, you should read and read of poems. If you are a painter, you should look at styles, at movements, no? You should look at how certain periods in history have done their art. You should look at how people have already looked into a subject, right? Because as what we have discussed, there are different kinds of subject. Pero these subjects, as we noticed, may be, limited. May be limited. However, what matters is if you know what exists, you know how to break from what is currently there, right? And therefore, it gives you, or it marks you as a creative person. So, after conceiving of the results and knowing what currently exists, number 3 is actually taking actions. So, this is a part where you manipulate your medium, you master your technique, or you actually apply what you're conceiving of in your mind into the real world. This is the process of giving life to what your artwork is. So you take actions, you get your materials, you get your medium, you hone your technique. Which brings us to the fourth one, because we are actually talking of creative process. So this is not just, doing an art, but this is being an artist. Okay? A process is you. So, if you say that, if you ask a question about an artist, what is your creative process? You're actually asking, how do they do things? So, if we think about it, if you now become an aspiring artist, aspiring visual artist or whatever, and you continue on that path, you will not just produce one product, or you will not just produce one artwork. You will have to produce a lot, right? And if you have a heart of an artist, you will produce and produce and produce, and you will start to know that in producing your artwork, sa bawat paggawa mo ng artistikong mga obra, ang nangyayari, nagiging aware ka, nagkakaroon ka ng kamalayan kung para sa iyo ano ba ang dapat na ginagawa sa proseso ng paglikha. So, pumupunta tayo dyan sa pang-apat na steps sa creative process according to Robert Fritz. At ito ay ang pagde-develop ng creativity. So, in developing creativity, this is now your framework. This is your personal procedure. However, this personal procedure may or may not be similar to others. Because when we develop creativity, there are things that we do that we get from others, and there are also things that we discover in the process of doing our art. Let's say, for example, if you're a painter, and then you would like to paint an impressionistic painting. You know what the other paintings of impressionistic nature is. You have already taken action. You have produced a lot of artworks, masterpieces in Impressionism. However, as you go along, as you produce and produce and produce, you know and you discover that there are certain things, or there are certain procedures in using your brush, in putting your canvas, in looking at the light, in manipulating shadow in your painting. There are certain procedures that you are really good at. And there are also certain procedures that you are not good at, or you say that, I will develop this part of me. I'm not really a master of the technique of putting shadow, putting depth. You start to develop that. Now, what happens according to Fritz, implying in this 5-step creative process? Developing creativity is a continuous meditation, is continuous learning. So therefore, as an artist or an aspiring artist, you do not stop at one piece or a one artwork. What you do is to meditate and learn from your process, learn what works and what's not working. So in that manner, you develop your creativity by thinking of the things that you're improving on or you should improve upon. So that's how you develop creativity until number 5, you learn the rhythms of the creative process. What rhythms are we talking about? This is not just about music. So in doing art, there are rhythms. Such when what is a rhythm? A rhythm is the play of existence and non-existence. For example, what is music? When we talk about music and when we talk about rhythm, rhythm is actually the existence of sound and silence. So therefore, in the rhythms of creative process, you have to know how to jive and dance with the moments that you have an idea, because there will be moments that you will really think about a lot. Marami kang maiisip na ideya. Merong mga panahon na marami kang maiisip na ideya. Meron ding mga panahon na hindi ka makakapag-isip ng mga ideya. So, existence of ideas and non-existence. Ano pa? Existence of materials. So, merong mga panahon na meron kang material na ganito. Nai-imagine mo, gumagawa ka ng isang poster, tapos ang material mo ay oil pastel. Lahat ng color meron ka, maliban sa blue. Yung nandito sa isip mo, dapat yung pinaka-theme o yung pinaka-tema ng painting mo, blue. Ano naman ngayon ang mangyayari sa'yo? Hindi ka na ba magpe-painting? Of course, that's also part of the rhythm of the creative process. How will you go about? No, you will, because in every work, in every artwork that you will be doing, there will be challenges, and the challenges will range from non-existent materials, non-existent imagination. It will range from challenges with your daily life. It would range from challenges with your work. So, as you want to be a master of a creative process and art, you have to learn how to jive and to dance to the rhythm of the creative process. Because this process is not actually just one time. It will exist in every artwork that you do. Okay? So, recap, according to Fritz, there is 5 in order to develop your own creative process. Number 1, you should know how to conceive of a result. Number 2, you should know what currently exists. Number 3, you have to take actions, and after taking actions, repeat and repeat and repeat. You're now developing your creativity. It's creativity within your doing of the current artwork and your meditation of all the artworks and all the processes that you've done all throughout your artworks. And number 5, you're also learning the rhythms of creative process. So, while you are repeating and repeating and repeating the way you do artworks, you're now learning the rhythm. And therefore, you're now learning how to dance with this creative process. In simple terms, we can also summarize actually in a single artwork. What do we do? No, we can also summarize it into 3. First one is germination. So what is germination? We actually have to when we talk about germination, this is term in science where it's the process of letting organic organic creatures, no, letting organic creatures or letting life itself create itself. So when we talk about germination, as what you can see in the picture, it's like letting a seed sprout. In letting a seed sprout, do you force it? No, you nurture it, right? So if you have an idea, you nurture it. If you have, let's say, an idea of of a story, so what do you do? If you have an idea of a story, well, you think about one line. Sige, like example, we have a line. So you can start with, I would like to write a story about a hero uh, who would be challenged, who would go to many lands, who would encounter giants, and who would get the treasure for himself, slay the dragon. But in the end, the hero will learn that the best treasure in life is not actually the material treasure that you have, no, that you acquire, but it's the experience. So it's not just one work, or it's not just one procedure. When you try to germinate, you ask questions, you conceptualize what will happen to the giant. Who is this giant? What will happen to the person this hero is with? Where will he go? What's that place called? This treasure, what is it like? Is this gold? Is this diamonds? So you're trying to think about these things. Like, for example, if you want to paint, we done that already. If you want to paint, so you ask, what image am I looking? What image am I conceiving of? And in this image, what do I want to say? What are the details? If I change a detail in the image that I'm looking at, what will change? So this is germination. You nurture it. You nurture the idea within your mind. You pour in water for the minerals to absorb, and then for ideas to sprout. So germination may take many forms, actually. Germination may take many forms. Kasi ang paglikha, hindi lang yan, tawag nito, iniisip mo, magagawa mo na. Minsan, mataas ang proseso ng pag-isip ng kung ano ang gagawin mo. So yan ang germination. Pangalawa will be assimilation. So itong assimilation, paano mo na ngayon bibigyan ng buhay ang naiisip mo? What are you, or what will you do in order for that thought, in order for that idea to have life? Okay? So that's assimilation. You will now assimilate the medium. So you will now think about the technique. You will apply the technique in your, let's say for example, if it's a poster, you will now apply your technique of pointillism. You will now apply your technique of wavy lines or weighted lines. You will now apply the technique of playing with shadows or chiaroscuro. So assimilation is that. And this is a process of doing and doing and doing, and up until you reach completion. So what will you do with completion? Is completion a process? Yes, of course. Because in the completion of an artwork, there is a beginning. What is a beginning in every completion? That is what you will do in the next artwork. So you will be thinking again, what did I do wrong? Ano ba yung mga kulang sa mga nagawa ko? Ano ba ang pwede kong improve? So, ito ay isa sa mga importanteng parte ng creative process, no? So, we summarize that from 5. We also have a summary, A, B, C, germination, assimilation, and completion. Paano kung marami kayo na gumagawa? Meron din yan. So, pag gumagawa ka ng isang art, o marami kayo, so, kung ang artwork na ginagawa nyo ay pangmaramihan, katulad ng theater, katulad ng dance, katulad ng orchestra, so Ano bang tawag dyan? Minsan, ang nagiging tawag niyan ay meron kang pre-production. Bakit may pre-production? Because sometimes individual artists have to talk with themselves. Individual artists, if they will be producing something that is big, something that requires many artists, you have to talk and you have to plan. Because if you do not plan, what will happen? Your artwork may explode and scatter. So if you do not plan, and if your art is an orchestra, all of you are individual guitarists and violinists, and you also have pianists, and you also have a you know wind instrument specialists, and then you don't have a pre-production, you don't plan, what will happen? Do you think you will harmonize? So you have to do a pre-production. So what is a pre-production? From planning, what will you play, what will be the chronology of the pieces that you will be playing, what is the position of this artist in relation to the other artist, how will the bassist be put, what will be the bassist be looking for in the audience. So that's in the planning stage. And also rehearsals. Actually, in the rehearsals, this is now the transition from pre-production to pangalawa, production, o yung medium manipulation. So if you're in music, you do the rehearsal, right? So you do now the rehearsal, you do this harmonization. If the guitarist is off tune, well, the director will say you're off tune. So that's how you adjust with each other. So the production is medium manipulation. You manipulate all the elements that is in your hand in order to create that vision that you have planned, which sends you to the next level, that is post-production. After your rehearsals and after you have presented, you always have a post-production. What is a post-production? So it's the period after your medium manipulation. So if this is an orchestra, this is after everything that is happening, or after your play, after your music, the applauses are now done. Lahat ng palakpakan tapos na. You have to go and talk with each other so that you will, in the next production, hindi kayo magkakalat. Magsasabi. Yung mga dyan, makaka-relate yan. Yung mga dancer dyan, no? Yung mga gumagawa ng art dyan. Anong mangyayari kapag hindi kayo mag-post-production? Sa susunod na presentation, magkakalat pa rin kayo. Dyan sa post-production, marami dyang lumalabas na mga baho. Maraming nangyayari dyan. Minsan, may nag-aaway na dyan sa post-production. Bakit? Kasi, yung isa magsasabing, hindi maganda yung mga laro ko sa nota ko kasi yung bassist, yung percussionist, hindi naman hindi alam ang tempo, hindi alam yung tamang kumpas. Nagpractice na kami, pero ganun pa rin. Sa susunod, hindi ka na namin i-recommend. So yan yung mga nangyayari sa post-production. Meron din naman, they will be asking, okay, that was a wonderful production. What did we do? What did we do that made the production successful? These are the kinds of questions that you encounter in post-production. So, these three are stages in making art on a large scale. No? Minsan kasi, yung mga art natin, hindi naman lang, isahan lang yan eh. Meron din yang large scale. Pwede din yang sa mga artisan. Tama, alam naman natin yung mga artisan, yung gagawa ng mga basket, yung nagwi-weave ng mga mat, yung mga nagmo-mold ng mga palayok. Meron din silang post-production diyan. Ano bang nangyari dun sa sa kalan? Bakit may 3 nabasag? Sino bang naglagay dun? Isa na yun sa yun na yung mga tanong na sa post-production. Okay? So those are 3 stages. Ngayon, alam na natin ang mga stages ng creative process at alam naman natin naman kung paano ang individual at ang pangmaramihan anong mga stages diyan. So punta naman tayo sa medium and technique. Ano bang pagkakaiba ng dalawang to? Ito sa individual na ito, pwede din sa by group, no? Ano ba ang pagkakaiba ng medium and technique? Kasi alam naman natin ang proseso, so dapat alam natin kung what is the difference between what materials you have and how you will use that materials. So that's the difference between medium and technique. Now, let's look at medium. Medium is actually the materials that is used by an artist for an artwork. For example, as you see in the picture. So the medium there is your paints. What kind of paint will you be using? Is this paint acrylic? Is this paint oil-based? Is this paint watercolor? Will you be using pencil only? Will you be using charcoal? So those are the medium. The technique is the artist's ability and knowledge or technical know-how. Dito na lumalabas yung sabi natin sa definition na ang art ay isang abilidad. Diba? Ang art ay proseso, abilidad, at saka product. So dito lumalabas na yung abilidad ng isang artist into using or knowing how to use the medium. Ito'y dalawa, yung nakikita nyo dyan sa screen, ito'y dalawa sa mga examples ng technique in painting, especially expressionist, abstract, expressionism, or impressionism. You have a technique called tinkering. This is using the brush in a certain way, only with form in mind, no? Using the colors, using your hand in a special way so that you will produce a special kind of a special kind of result. Splattering is also another technique. Okay, this is actually using the brush in a certain way that you will create an effect. Okay, that's the example. So, now, tingnan natin sa isang example ang differences ng medium at technique. So, titingnan natin, alam nyo ito, si Apo Wang Od, isa ito sa sikat nating mambabatok o mas kilala sa layman's term na tattoo. So, kilala siya sa kung paano gawin yung tattoo, no? Now, kung titingnan natin, ito yung kaibahan. So, kapag sinabing medium, di ba ang sabi natin kanina, ito yung mga kagamitan na nandyan. So, ano ba yung medium ni Apo Wang Od sa kanyang pambabatok? It's actually ink with mixture of charcoal and water at saka yung katawan bilang isang human canvas. So, ito yung mga gagamitin niya. External sa abilidad niya. Yan yung medium. And technique naman, ito yung batok. O yung kung papaano ilagay itong ink, itong charcoal, doon sa katawan ng tao. Paano ilagay yung charcoal doon sa katawan ng tao. So, ito na yung abilidad mismo ng artist. So, yung technique niya ay pagbabatok, which is hand tapping, no? Meron siyang ginagamit na if I'm not mistaken, that's the thorn of a pomelo. Yung isang merong isang klase ng halaman na ang kanyang katawan ay may mahahabang tinik. Itong tinik na ito kinukuha tsaka ilinalagay niya sa isang stick, minsan mano-mano din. So, isinasawsaw niya dun sa charcoal, tapos ito yung ilinalagay niya sa balat. Minsan din, iba din yung ginagamit niya, ibang medium naman. Pero, yung technique, yung paano ito gamitin, yan yung technique niya. So, Ang prosesong ito, paano naman ang proseso? Ang proseso ay yung procedure ng patuloy na paggamit ng technique. So, ito na yon, tapping into the skin through a thorn end of a calamansi or a pomelo tree. So, that's the process. No? And then, we also have persons involved. Iba din ito. So, yung persons niya kasi, minsan ito yung canvas niya. Di ba? Yung katawan niya. Ito, no? Ito yun. So, tourists, pilgrims, trekkers. So, these are part of the medium and technique that an artisan like Apo Wang Od uses. So, you can see in this presentation, in the pictures there, that there are differences. What is a medium? What is a technique? What is a process? And what are the persons involved? Or who are the persons involved? Okay, so much for that. Alam na natin ang pagkakaiba ng medium at technique. So, na-discuss na natin ano ba yung creative process, na-discuss na din natin ano yung medium and technique. Ngayon, we go to the next one. So, ano-ano naman ba ang philosophical perspectives in art? So, basically, ang tanong natin dito, what are the how does art or how is art viewed by philosophers? Tatanungin natin, bakit tayo magtatanong pa sa mga pilosopo? May mga definition naman tayo. Alam natin, no? We know that there are definitions, we have discussed it already, but we don't know, what we don't know is, what is the essences? What did they see? Hindi naman tayo philosophers. Pilosopo lang. No? So, the question is, what did they see in art? And, in turn, kapag makita natin what did they see in art, maybe we can learn something, right? About art. About paano ba lumalalim ang ating pagtingin sa sining. Ito yung purpose ng third eh. So kanina, sa creative process, sa medium and technique, ito yung external, yung madali. These are the easy parts. What is the creative process? Okay, alam natin ang process, madaling gamitin. Pangalawa, what is medium and technique? Okay, ganito lang pala yun. So, kailangan alam mo yung medium mo at alam mo yung technique. However, paano ba natin palalalimin ang ating pag-iintindi kung ano ba ang art? Yan yung role ng philosophical perspectives. Ano bang sinasabi ng mga philosophers? Yung mga philosophers ay ang tinatrabaho nito pag-iisip eh. So, ano bang mga sinasabi ng philosophers regarding sa art? Yan yung mga tanong natin sa part na ito. So, let's start, no? Tingnan natin, ano ba yung basic na mga philosophical perspectives pagdating sa art? Ito ay mula sa mga philosophers, iba't ibang mga philosophers at iba't ibang mga schools ng art. Okay, tingnan natin. Una, i-discuss natin ang isa sa pinaka-ugat ng Western thinking, ng kanluraning pag-iisip kapag ang pinag-uusapan natin ay ang pamimilosopiya. At ito ay si Plato. So, let's ask Plato, what does he mean about art? So, Plato says, art is mimesis. Ano bang mimesis? Ito ay Greek term which is the root word of the word imitation. So, mimesis, that's also a principle in art. What is that? So, according to Plato, art is an imitation of what is ideal for human perspectives. So, para sa kanya, ang art daw ay isang kopya. Pagkopya sa kung ano yung ideal para sa pagtingin ng tao. Ano bang ideal? Sabi pa niya, art is an imitation of the real that was an imitation of the ideal. Art is an imitation of an imitation. Kasi sabi ni Plato, ang idea kasi ni Plato ay world of ideas. Ang lahat na nakikita natin, finite form lang ito. So, para kay Plato, ang lahat ng nakikita natin, ito'y finite form lamang. Ibig sabihin, may hangganan. Kung nakakakita ka ngayon sa image ko, nakakakita ka ngayon sa presentation ko, kung ano yung nakikita mo, ito'y may hangganan. At sa mundo ng mga ideya, sa mundo ng mga ideas, that is really the source of what is real. So, if you're seeing in front of you, if what you're seeing in front of you is a person that is talking, it's just actually an illusion. What is ideal ay yung hindi natin nakikita. O yung trinatry pang arukin ng ating pananaw. So, ano naman ang art? Ang art ay pagkopya sa kung ano yung nakikita natin, pero hindi lamang doon. Dapat makopya din kung ano pa yung dapat pang makuha na ideya. Example, itong nakikita nyong statwang ito. Tingnan nyo yung statwang yan. Ang statwang yan, actually, that's a statue of Plato. That is a statue of Plato. Di ba, nag-discuss na tayo kay Magritte. So, isipin nyo yung na-discuss natin kay Rene Magritte, yung this is not a pipe. So, tingnan nyo. So, ang statwang yan ay si Plato. Ngayon, kung titingnan ninyo, ang statwang yan ay statwa lang. Hindi natin pwedeng sabihin si Plato yan. Pero, unang tingin pa lang natin, nang nakita natin na si Plato yan, merong effect sa atin. Ito pala yung ano ni Plato. Bakit ganyan siya? No? Bakit yung nasa isip ng artist, ganyan dapat si Plato nakaupo, may hawak-hawak ba yan, nakatitig sa kanyang kaliwang kamay doon. May meaning ba yan? Kung may message ito, ang sinasabi, ang pagkopya ng kung ano yung ideal, ano yung talagang full, hindi lang kung anong makikita mo, kung anong ideal talaga. Ang pagkopya ng kung ano ang ideal, hindi lang pagkopya ng kung anong nandyan. Siyempre, kinokopya mo yan, pero dapat yung ideal form yan. So, kung si Plato yan, tas kinopya siya, ang ideal form ni Plato yan. Kasi kung totoong tao yan, di ba? Kung si Plato lang yan, alam natin na si Plato hindi lang nakaupo. Tama? So, si Plato pwedeng nakatayo, pwedeng lumalakad. So, sa lahat ng pwedeng maging forma ni Plato, ibig sabihin, yun yung pagkopyang hindi lamang ikikopya-kopya lang. So, kapag sinasabing mimesis, ang kinokopya dito ay yung essence. Ang kinokopya dito ay yung kung ano ba yung pinakamagandang pahiwatig ng formang ito. Okay? So, kagaya nung sinabi natin na yung klase ng upo ni Plato dyan, bakit sa lahat ng pwedeng maging kalagayan ni Plato, bakit ganyan? Kasi siguro yung nakikita ng artist, yung pinaka-ideal na magpo-portray kay Plato bilang isang philosopher, bilang isang mataas na klase ng pagkatao, bilang isang kilalang tao na merong kapangyarihan ng pag-iisip, yan yung formang nababagay sa kanya. Hindi yung iba pang mga formang si Plato din. Hindi yung Platong naglalakad, hindi yung Platong nakaharap sa kung saan, kundi yan. So siguro para sa sculpture, yung ideal perspective niya kay Plato ay yan. Nakukuha ba natin? 'Di ba? Ganon yun eh. Ganon ang mimesis. Ano ba yung kinokopya mo sa kinopya lang? So, kapag nakita mo yun, makikita mo ano ba yung ideal na perspective. Okay? So, para kay Plato, ang art ay mimesis. No? Huwag niyong kakalimutan ang mimesis. So, ang term na ito ay ang source ng word na imitation. Okay? Or copying. Pero anong klaseng copying? Hindi lang ang pagkopya ng real world, it's also copying the ideal of what the human eye is looking at. Okay? Okay. So, tapos na tayo dyan. Punta naman tayo sa pangalawa. Ano naman ang sinasabi ng estudyante ni Plato si Aristotle? So, para kay Aristotle, art as representation. Ang art daw ay representasyon. Muling pagpresenta. Representasyon. So, ibig sabihin, art represents something outward appearance at inward significance. So, medyo parehas dun kay Plato, no? Pero para kay Aristotle, the aim of art is not to represent the outward appearance of things, but their inward significance. Ano ba yung significance para sa'yo? No? Bilang isang tao. Kung nakikita mo ang sculpture na yan ni Aristotle, anong significance sa'yo? Bakit tinitingnan mo siya? At bakit ganyan, ano ba yung nangyayaring proseso sa mind mo sa representation yan? So, ibig sabihin, hindi lamang yung outward appearance. So, dalawa, no? Medyo parehas din siya sa mimesis. Pero, para kay Aristotle, something's outward appearance and its inward significance. Dalawa dapat. So, ibig sabihin ngayon, para sa kanya, pwede mong gawin kahit ano. Like for example, kanina sinasabi natin si Plato, no? Pwede mong tingnan kahit ano na posisyon ni Plato. Pero dapat kukunin mo din yung inward significance. Bakit ganito? Bakit ito yung muli kinopya mo, kinopya ng artist, ganyan. Ibig sabihin, ang layunin natin, hindi lamang kung ano yung nakikita. Dapat, kung ano yung malalabas doon sa nakikita. Example, yung sculpture na yan. Sculpture lang ba siya? O pinapakita niya kung gaano si Aristotle ka-special? Kung presenta ba nung sculpture yung mukha ni Aristotle sa ibang klase, ano naman yung significance dun? So, para kay Aristotle, ang art ay paghahanap ng significance. So, sa bawat kopya mo, titingnan mo, ano ba yung inward significance? No? Yung muling i-represent mo. So, kung dyan sa sculpture na yan, ang nakikita natin, ang grandness ni Aristotle, kung mapapansin nyo, gaano ka-straight yung tanaw niya. Ano ba yung nafe-feel natin kay Aristotle kapag nakikita natin ang sculpture na ito? O like for example, ako, pag nakikita ko ang sculpture na yan, ang representation, no? Muling pagkopya kay Aristotle. Pag nakikita ko yung sculpture niya yan, ang naiisip ko, si Aristotle kasi, isa siyang philosopher na may solidong mga ideya patungkol sa filosofiya. So, pag nakikita ko ang mata niya na ganito ang forma, ganito pinorma ng artist, masasabi ko talaga, okay, ganun pala. Kaya pala, ganyan yung paggawa ng artist kay Aristotle. Kasi, kung babasahin ko lahat ng kanyang mga ideya bilang isang philosopher, napaka-solid ng mga ideas niya na kung itra-translate natin sa personality niya dyan, solid din. Makikita mong straight ang gaze, naka uh, uh, kumbaga straight up siya, hindi siya nakaganito, nakaganyan, o kung saan nakatingin, doon siya straight ang tingin. Ibig sabihin, solid yung paninindigan niya sa kanyang mga filosofiya. So parang gano'n, no? Art as representation. Kayo, ano bang pakahulugan nyo sa art represents something's outward appearance and its inward significance? Bigyan nyo ng pakahulugan yan. Okay? So, maaaring meron akong mga ideyang hindi ko na maipapasa sa inyo, pero bigyan nyo ng pakahulugan yung mga salitang yan. Ano ba ang tinatawag na art is representation or art as representation? Para naman kay Kant, isa namang panibagong perspective. Sabi niya, merong tinatawag na ito yung tanong ni Kant, no? Ito yung perspektiba niya. Ito yung tanong niya. Para saan ba ang art? Para saan ba ang sining? So, para sa kay Kant, the purpose contributes towards a formally substantial and beautiful whole. Sabi niya, ibig sabihin, art for art's sake. Ang sining ay binubuo para sa pagde-develop o sa paghurma ng ating pagtingin sa kung ano yung maganda. Okay? Ano yung para magkaroon tayo ng mas magandang pagtingin kung ano yung maganda, ano yung may laman. Okay. So, art has its own reason for being. It implies that an art object is best understood as an autonomous creation. So, para kay Aristotle, anong implication ng art for art's sake? Anong implication na ang sining ay ginawa para sa sining lang? Okay. O sa pagtingin natin na dapat ang sining ay ito ay nagsisilbi sa atin bilang tao bilang isa lamang isang mode ng pagninilay-nilay kung ano ba yung ano ba yung konsepto ng maganda, anong konsepto ng may laman, ganun. So it implies para kay Kant na ang isang art object o ang isang artwork ay best understood, mas maganda siyang maintindihan o mas maintindihan nating lalo kapag tiningnan natin na ang isang artwork ay autonomous creation. Ibig sabihin, kapag ginawa ng isang artwork ang kanyang art, hiwalay ang artist sa artwork niya. Anong ibig sabihin hiwalay? Hindi mo na, kapag itong artwork mo, ilinagay mo na doon sa lipunan, hindi mo naman ito mababawi. Hindi naman ang artist pupunta sa'yo, pupunta doon sa palaging nakabuntot doon sa artwork at mag-explain, ganito kasi yan, ganito, ganyan. Autonomous creation yan. Kung ano yung, kung ano lamang yung nagawa ng artist, yun na yun. Ibig sabihin, may sining siyang kanya. Bakit? Baka kasi yung ibang work ng artist na gumawa nun, yung ibang work niya, iba din ang style. Hindi na yun hindi na yun, wala na yung part doon sa nagawa na niya. O yung artist naman, masamang tao. Masasabi ba nating masama yung kanyang ginawang art? Ang ganda-ganda nung painting, tapos nakita lang natin sa TV o na ano lang natin na ang sama ng taong yan pala, hindi pala mura pala yan. Tapos yung artwork niya, nakikita natin, kahit maganda, sinasabi na nating ay pangit yan, pangit kasing artist niyan, hindi pala mura, ganun. Nakikita mo naman yung art na ang ganda niyan. Ano bang purpose para kay Kant? Ang purpose niyan ay magkaroon tayo towards a formally substantial and beautiful whole. Yung art, kung maganda yan, kahit pa yung creator niyan, walang modo, pag maganda yan, alam natin, ang purpose ng art ay magbigay sa atin ng ideya kung ano ba yung maganda. Nakapagbigay ng ideya yung art na yon kung ano yung maganda kahit na hindi naman ah, kagalingan o hindi naman magandang ehemplo para sa ibang tao yung artist. Yan yung ibig sabihin ng autonomous creation. To be valued only for its success. Kung nag-succeed yung painting na yon, na painting siya, nag-succeed siya sa kanyang pagbibigay ng beauty, uh, kumbaga, inwaray paggitik ka na hunahuna, kung ano't beauty, nag-succeed na yan. Wala nang kung ano-ano pa, no? As it organizes color and line into a formally satisfying and beautiful whole. Ibig sabihin, sa bawat linya, sa bawat circle, sa bawat kulay, kapag lahat ng ito ay merong effect, no, na maganda, hindi natin na-describe yan, pero yan ang purpose ng art. Kahit hindi natin ma-describe, basta meron siyang epekto sa atin, meron siyang purpose. Ang purpose niya ay upang tayo ay magkaroon ng isang ideya. Ano ba yung isang formally substantial and magandang artwork? At ano ba yung kagandahan in a sense? Ano ba yung beauty in a sense? So, isa yun, no? Ano naman, para sa iba, meron din nagsasabi na art is an escape. So, isang perspektiba din sa filosofiya na ang sining ay isang pagtakas mula sa realidad ng buhay. Minsan meron nagsasabi, ano bang mas totoo? Yung nasa art o yung itong buhay? Minsan kasi may nagsasabing ilusyon lamang ang buhay no? So art serves as an artist's hidden realm. Bakit may sining? So, ang purpose, sabi ng ibang philosopher, ang art kasi ay nagiging isang escape. So, the sacred level of art not only transforms something into art but also transforms the artist at the very core of his or her being. Kaya gumagawa ang artist ng kanyang art. Kaya sometimes, merong ibang tumitingin sa artwork ng artist na yan o meron din ibang hindi tumitingin sa artwork ng artist na yan. Kasi, ang importante ay ginawa ng artist na yan para sa kanya. Kasi, sa art na yan, nagkakaroon siya ng escape. Nagkakaroon siya ng pagtakas mula sa totoong buhay. Nagkakaroon siya ng ibang pagtanaw sa buhay na hindi nakikita ng iba. At itong pagtingin ng iba ay siyang nagkukulong sa kanyang pananaw. So, ibig sabihin, art serves an artist's hidden realm. Merong tinatagong mundo ang lahat ng artist. Kaya siya gumagawa ng art ay para madiskubre ang mundong ito. So, anong application ng filosofiyang ito? Lahat tayo, ibig sabihin, lahat tayo bilang mga tao, bilang merong kapasidad na gumawa ng art, lahat pala tayo may kapasidad na magdiskubre ng ating sariling mundo. Masama ba yun? Hindi, ang ganda nun. That's a very good perspective. Why? If art is an escape and we can realize our own world, we can escape to our own world that is separate from the world that we're living in. Therefore, we can escape from the harshness, no, of reality through art, through our creation. Ano lang ang masama doon? Minsan kasi, ginagamit lang, may nagdidebate lang na kung art is an escape, dapat wala nang hindi na natin i-judge ang bawat artist sa kanyang kung maganda ba yung ginawa niya o hindi. No? Kasi art is an escape naman eh. May hidden realm naman pala yung art niya eh. Pakahulugan lang pala niya ang ganun eh. So, ang pilosopiyang ito, yun yung weakness niya. Yun yung weakness ng definition ng art according to this philosophy na art is an escape, no? So, para sa inyo, ano kaya? Ano kayang ibig sabihin ng sacred level of art? Not only transforms something into art but also transforms the artist at the very core of his or her being. Totoo ba na art is an escape? Or isang escape sa real world ang art? Sige, you can answer that. You can reflect on that question. Meron ding nagsasabing art is functional or merong gamit ang art sa lipunan. Kung may gamit siya sa personal, may gamit din siya sa lipunan. Ang talagang function ng art ay ang art talaga ay merong function, no? Separate doon sa sinasabing art is an escape na merong sariling mundo lang yung artist. Meron din naman nagsasabing, meron ding mga philosopher na nagsasabing art is meant to be used to enrich lives. Ibig sabihin, hindi lang life ng artist, enrich lives of people, to be spiritually potent, to educate, to support or protest existing power structures, to entertain, and so on. May function ng art, sabi ng mga philosopher. Kasi, ng ibang philosopher hindi lahat. Kasi, meron ng mga debate, bakit pa kailangan natin ng art? Pwede din palang escape lang ang art eh. Pero, merong nagdedepensa, no? Na hindi. Art is functional. So, it has many functions towards different institutions of our society. It can enrich lives. So, kung iisipin natin, back sa limang ito, no? Ang pinaka-question dito, paano ba natin mas maiintindihan ano yung purpose ng art? No? Ito ba'y pagkokopya kung ano ang gusto nating makitang ideya or ideal, kagaya ng sinabi ni Plato? Ito ba'y pagkokopya at paghahanap ng significance ng bawat kinokopya natin mula sa nature? O ito ba'y pagkakaroon natin o ang art ba'y para lang sa na magkaroon tayo ng view kung ano ba ang maganda, ano ba yung beautiful? Ito ba yun? To contribute towards a formally substantial and beautiful whole? O ito ba'y escape para sa mga artist lang? Napaka-selfish, di ba, minsan? Pero napaka-lalim din. O ito ba'y function? Gumagawa ba tayo ng art kasi may gamit ito sa lipunan? Meron ba itong kapangyarihan baguhin? So, ito yung mga basic na perspectives, no, in terms of art. Ano naman ang sinasabi ng iba-iba pang mga perspektiba ng ibang mga artists, no? Titingnan natin. So, aside from the 5 basic, no, titingnan natin naman yung iba-iba pa. How people across generations viewed art accordingly. Paano ba tiningnan ng iba't ibang mga artists sa iba't ibang mga field of art ang art? At as a reflection of its intrinsic and extrinsic significance towards the humanities. Ano ba yung significance nito para sa kanila? Para sa kanilang ano. So, tingnan natin para mas maintindihan pa natin ano ba yung sining. Kasi, hindi lang ito isang ang usapin ng sining ay hindi lang isang bagsakan yan. Malalim yan, no? Okay, simulan natin dito sa nagpasakit ng ulo natin, 'di ba? Na tatandaan nyo yung image na to. This is not a pipe. Okay, so sabi ni Rene Magritte, art evokes the mystery without which the world would not exist. So, sabi niya, para sa kanya, ang art ang siyang humuhugot kung ano ba yung misteryo ng buhay. So, kung hindi natin hugutin kasi yung misteryo ng buhay, hindi natin marirealize ano ba yung daigdig, ano ba yung buhay natin, at ano ba yung tinatawag na pagkatao. So, para kay Magritte, ang art ang humuhugot niyan. Ito yung nag-i-evoke ng mystery ng buhay. May mga pangyayari sa ating buhay na hindi natin naiintindihan. May mga mangyayari sa ating buhay na hindi na-explain sa atin. May mga nangyayari sa ating lipunan na hindi it's not uh, it's not passed to us, it's not explained to us. We're just being kept on the blind. There are things in our psychology that remains there. And art is the one which evokes that and which creates the world that we imagine. So for Rene Magritte, we know, right, that this person gave us a puzzle. A puzzle of this is not a pipe, no? For him, art evokes the mystery of the world. Like what he did with the puzzle of this is not a pipe. And that's wonderful. Okay. According to the architect Frank Lloyd Wright naman, sabi niya, art is a discovery and development of elementary principles of nature. Ito medyo bumabalik siya kung meron siyang pakahulugan kung ano yung basic eh. Ano ba yung ating kinokopya sa art? Kasi ang art isang pagkopya, 'di ba? Sometimes sinasabi natin ang art ay isang pagkopya. Ano ang unang-unang kinokopya ng artist? Ang unang kinokopya ng artist ay ang nature. Mapakalikasan man 'yan o mapapersonality ng tao. Nature din 'yan. Tama. Sinasabi natin minsan, what is the nature of this human being? Is the nature of human beings cruel? So, art is a discovery. So kapag gumagawa pala tayo ng art according to Frank Lloyd Wright, ito architect ito ha, si Frank Lloyd Wright, yang ginawa niya, itong The Falling Water, ang ganda niyan. Tingnan nyo yung ginawa niya. Ito kasi, yung building na ito, dinesign niya ito upang, anong mapapansin nyo dyan? O, tingnan nyo, kung mapapansin nyo, di ba parang walang hangganan yung nature at yung building. Right? Parang bato lang eh. Ilinagay dyan, tas linagyan ng slab, tas linagyan ng mga windows. Para sa akin, maganda yan. Bakit? Kasi, saan ka nakakita ng architecture na supposed to be, ang architecture dapat, di ba, sa ating normal na pagkakaintindi ng architecture, ang ginagawa ng architecture eh, gumagawa tayo ng bahay. Ano ba ang isang bahay? Ang mga bahay at mga building ay masagwang mga bagay na ilinalagay natin sa nature. Masagwa. Bakit? Kasi hindi siya nature. Artificial lahat ng building. Pero para kay Frank Lloyd Wright, yung art niya sa kanyang architecture, tingnan nyo. Parang nature din eh. Kuweba lang oh. So para sa kanya, art is a discovery. So, dinidiscover natin anong dinidiscover, anong dinidevelop. Yung mga prinsipyo ng kalikasan. At ginagawa itong magagandang mga forma na suitable for human use, na magagamit natin. So, ibig sabihin, parang sinasabi niyang, ang sining daw ay pagdidiskubre ng mga patakaran o ng ganda ng kalikasan upang magamit natin ito. Magaling yan si Frank Lloyd Wright. Ano sa tingin nyo? Okay ba yung sinasabi niya? O ano ba yung mga limitations ng sinasabi niya? No? You can reflect on that. Okay. Ano pa ba? Okay, si Thomas Merton. Ito siya, si Thomas Merton, nagsulat siya nung isa itong writer, no? The Seven-Story Mountain, ito sa mga sinulat niya. So, ano ba yung Seven-Story Mountain? It tells of the growing restlessness of a brilliant and passionate young man who at the age of 26 takes vows in one of the most demanding Catholic orders, the Trappist monks. So, para kay Thomas Merton sa isang writer, art enables us to find ourselves and lose ourselves at the same time. Parang escapist, di ba? Yung escape, yung art as escape na sinasabi kanina. So, para sa kanya, binibigyan tayo ng abilidad o bumabalik naman tayo sa abilidad. Ang sining, binibigyan tayo ng sining ng abilidad upang mahanap natin ang ating mga sarili. At kapag nahanap na natin ang ating mga sarili, pwede naman natin napakawalan ang mga sariling ito sa mundong meron tayo. Ang ganda nun, di ba? So, pag mahanap natin ang ating mga sarili within our art, kasi may abilidad tayo, pwede naman nating pakawalan ang ating mga sarili sa mundong ating nahanap. Sino pa ang merong idea? Pablo Picasso. Nandito na naman yung friend natin, Pablo Picasso. Ano ba yung purpose ng art para sa kanya? The purpose of art is washing the dust of daily life of our souls. Parang escaping din eh. Art as escape. So sabi niya, kapag ang buhay ay parang isang paglusong, no, sa isang daang maputik, kung hindi maputik, sa isang daang kalsadang alikabok. So, paano ba natin ibabalik yung kalinisan ng ating pagkatao mula sa maalikabok na buhay na ito? Anong feeling ng maalikabok na balat? 'Di ba pag maalikabok ang balat natin, ang ano niyan, ang lagkit, mabigat, 'di ba? So kapag mabigat ang ating pagkatao, anong mangyayari sa atin? Anong mangyayari sa pananaw natin sa buhay? 'Di ba nagkakaroon siya ng matinding epekto, masidhing epekto? So anong nangyayari kapag gumagawa tayo ng art? Sabi ni Pablo Picasso, the purpose of art is washing the dust. Ito'y paghuhugas ng alikabok ng buhay. So, ang ating mga kaluluwa ay may buhay yan. At sa araw-araw na ginawa ng universo, ang mga alikabok ng buhay ay lumalagkit ng lumalagkit, bumibigat ng bumibigat. So, para sa kanya, art is washing the dust of our daily life, of our souls. Para naman kay Seneca, ang galing nito, no? Simple lang yung sa kanya. Magaling ang philosopher si Seneca, Roman, no? Art, lahat ng art is but an imitation of nature. Lahat ng art, sabi niya, imitation lang yan ng nature. Anong implication nito sa sinasabi niya? Kung lahat ng art ay imitation lang ng nature, dapat ba tayong magpadaya sa ibang mga art na kinukuha ang mga damdamin natin sa patungo sa hindi magandang patutunguhan at patungo sa mga masasamang layunin? Kung lahat ay imitation lang sa nature, anong sinasabi ni Seneca patungkol sa usapin ng kalikasan? Ibig sabihin pala, kung maghahanap tayo ng mas malalim na artwork at mas magandang artwork, ang pinakamagandang artwork ay kalikasan. Tama ba? Pwede bang ganun yung pakahulugan natin? So, according to Seneca, all art is but an imitation of nature. Walang original. Lahat ng ito, imitation lang sa nature. Degas, painter. Ano para sa kanyang art? Art is not what you see, but what you make others see. Ito, medyo advanced ito eh. Minsan, kung ano yung ating nakikita sa isang painting, at kung ano yung isang artwork, o isang sculpture, o sa isang choreography, or naririnig natin sa music, minsan kung ano yung nasa sense natin Hindi yan yung hangganan ng art. Ang hangganan ng artwork ay kung ano yung nakikita mo beyond. Like for example, itong painting na to, The Star. Kung titingnan nyo, makikita natin agad yung subject niya, isang nagsasayaw na, di ba? Nagsasayaw na ballerina, let's say for example. Pero, ano bang pinapahiwatig niya? Ano bang sinasabi niya beyond what we are saying? Para sa akin, isa sa mga pwede kong sabihin dyan ay ito'y isang pakawala. Bakit merong mga tao din dun sa medyo parang nasusunog o nandun sa part na yon, no, sa at the back. Pero yung isa dito na merong na nagsasayaw na she is very free in herself, no? So, ano bang pinapahiwatig niyan? Para sa akin, kung akong tumitingin sa painting na yan, pwede kong sabihin na ang pinapahiwatig ni Degas sa pamamagitan ng sining, ako'y nakakawala mula sa sunog at sa gulo ng pagtingin ng ibang tao. Pwede yun. Kasi star yan eh. Pero yung iba, pwedeng iba din ang kahulugan. Ang importante, kung susundin natin ang isip ni Degas, what makes others see? Kung gusto mong palalimin ang artwork mo, mas magandang isipin mo ano yung mas malalim na gusto mong ipahiwatig sa tao. Kung gusto mong palalimin, no? Hindi naman ito sinasabing palalimin mo talaga. Isa yun, no? Ano pa? Okay, Sibelius. Art is the signature of civilization. So, Sibelius is also a writer, no? Itong sinasabi niya, art is the signature of civilization. It's an anthropological perspective. Ako mula ako sa social science. So, I look also at art as the genius of humanity. Art is a genius of humanity. Bakit? Kasi, hindi natin masasabing ang tao ay pursosong genius lang eh. Hindi tao lang ang genius eh. Maraming mga hayop sa buong mundo ang merong mga kanya-kanyang genius. Merong mga abilidad na hindi nagagawa ng tao. Pero what makes us different from animals? It's our capacity to be human and to create legacies, civilizations. Yung sibilisasyon natin, yung mga nagagawa natin, ang lahat ng ito ay marka ng ating pagkatao. Now, ano naman yung art? Ito'y marka ng sibilisasyon kung saan ang artist na yan ay nagmula. So, I can let you think about what art is the signature of civilization, but I can give you an example. Let's say, for example, the Babylonian civilization ng unang panahon. Yung Babylonian, mahilig yan sa mga asul na mga wall at sa mga unique na mga textile at sa mga unique na mga design. Yung color na lapis lazuli. Mga Babylonians yan. So, itong lapis lazuli na color, ginagamit din nila ito sa maraming bagay. Ngayon, kung ikaw ay isang anthropologist from the 21st century, tapos ang pinag-uusapan mo, yung pinag-aaralan mo ay yung klase ng sibilisasyon meron ang Babylonians. This is hundreds of years, no? Hundreds of years ang gap ninyo. Masasabi mong Babylonian yan kasi pag nakita mo na lapis lazuli yung ginamit, agad Babylonian yung pumapasok sa isip mo. Therefore, it is a signature that this color or this tawag nito, this design is Babylonian. Kasi sila lang ang ang gumawa nito. So, anong ibig sabihin nun? Special na civilization ang Babylonians. Art makes civilizations special. Kasi sila lang ang nakagawa niyan eh. Parehas din sa iba pang mga sibilisasyon. So, ibig sabihin, tama si Sibelius. Art is the signature of civilization. Isang pakahulugan yun. Ano pang iba? Kay Tolstoy. Ito si Tolstoy, magaling ito. Napakaganda ng War and Peace. Kung babasahin nyo ito, makikita nyo anong hardship sa Europe sa panahon ng mga gera. Noong unang panahon, sa panahon niya. So, sabi niya, art is a human activity. Tama. Consisting in this, that one man consciously, by means of certain external signs, hands on to other feelings he has lived through, and that others are infected by these feelings and also experience them. Sinasabi lang ni Tolstoy na gawaing pantao ang art. Walang ibang hayop na makakagawa nito. Pero, ang paggawa ng art dapat conscious. May ginagamit ka na mga simbolo na naintindihan din ng ibang tao. Pagkatapos, sa paggamit mo nito, ultimately, para kay Tolstoy, dapat ma-infect ha? Art ito pag mai-infect yung ibang tao sa mga feelings na gusto mong ipa-experience sa kanila. It implies that great artists infect other people with their art. Kapag napa-experience mo sa ibang tao ang gusto mong ipa-experience by way of your art, magaling ka. According to Leo Tolstoy. Pero marami pa itong kahulugan. Isa lang itong perspektiba. So, kung ganun, ang lahat ng ating diniscuss, ibig sabihin, napakarami pala no, ng mga debate, napakarami ng mga diskusyon kung ano ba yung art. Pero, titingnan natin, ano ba yung common essentials? Unang-una, art is man-made. Diniscuss na natin ito. So, doon sa assumptions of art, art is not nature. Pero sa essentials of art, kung ano, ang ibig sabihin ng essential kung ano siya talaga. Kung tatanggalin natin sa lahat ng mga flower words na ano natin kanina, narinig natin kanina, ano talaga ang art? Number one, art is man-made. Sa last lang na sabi ni Tolstoy, human activity Sinabi bang hayop activity? Hindi naman. Pangalawa, art is creative, not imitative. Sir, sabihin nyo sa akin, anong sinabi ni Aristotle? Ibig lang sabihin nun, na ibig lang sabihin ni Aristotle at ni Plato, imitation, pagkukopya, pero hindi naman ibig sabihin na sa pagkukopya mo, nakopya mo na lahat, makukopya mo ba yung nature? Hindi naman, di ba? Hindi mo makukopya yung nature. Pero kung anong iniisip mo na ganito ang nature, yan ay dahil creative ka. Paano yun? Yung dahon bang kinopya ni Michelangelo dun sa kanyang mga pinainting niya, yung mga dahon niya ba dun? Tawag nito, talagang dahon yun? Hindi naman Nag-create lang siya sa mind niya ng kung ano para sa kanya ang dahon at sinabi niya, ito, dahon to. At tayo namang tumitingin sa dahon yun, nagkaintindihan tayo, dahon pala yun. Ibig sabihin, hindi naman niya kinopya lahat Meron siyang sariling interpretasyon kung ano yung dahon. Ibig sabihin, creative siya, hindi. Creative. Bakit? In the way that he did that leaf, napaniwala niya tayong dahon yun. Pero talaga namang hindi yung dahon Kagaya nung ginagawa yung diniscuss natin kay Rene Magritte, yung this is not a pipe. Tama? So yun yung ibig sabihin ng creative. Bakit? Hindi lahat ng artist isa lang yung dahon sa kanila. Tama? Hindi naman isa lang yung dahon sa lahat ng artist Iba-iba naman yung interpretasyon ng dahon So, Art is creative. Ikaw ang nagbibigay ng pakahulugan kung ano para sa'yo. Ang kinokopya mo. Yun. Number 3. Art benefits and satisfies people. Ito, medyo kung babalikan natin dun sa ano ba yung art as functional, no? Ang art, nagkakapagbigayan ng benepisyo at nakakapag-satisfy ng tao. Pero mayroon pa akong sikretong isasabi sa inyo. Art disturbs the undisturbed. Yan. Titingnan natin kung anong pakahulugan nyo dyan pag mag-discuss tayo face to face. So, art benefits and satisfies people. Dyan muna tayo. Art benefits and satisfies people. Meron palang pagsasatisfy na nangyayari kapag gumagawa ng art ang mga tao. 4. Art is presented through a particular medium. Lahat ng art may medium at may material na ginagawa ng artist. Ini-express ng artist sa kanyang viewers. So, ibig sabihin, kahit anong bagay na merong kagandahan o merong ng mga elementong ito, pwede natin sabihing art. Man-made ba siya? Oo. Pwede. Creative ba siya? Oo, nakakita na ako ng ang dami ko nang nakitang ang dami ko nang nakitang pintuan na ganito yung design. Pero ngayon lang ako nakakita ng pintuang ganito yung design. Ang ganda-ganda. Creative. Okay, pwede siyang art. 3, nakakabenepisyo ba siya? Nakakasatisfy ba siya? O, tinignan kong pintuan na ito na kanina ko pa tinitingnan. Lahat ng taong dumadaan dito napapalingon sa pintuang yan. Napapangiti. Kasi, ang intricate detail. Art ba siya? 3, 3 na. Oo. 4, art is presented through a particular medium. Naku, ano kaya ang medium ng taong gumawa nito? Ay, madali lang, kahoy. Kahoy na nara. At ang ganda ng kanyang paggamit siguro ng mga tools kasi napakadetalye. Ibig sabihin, pwedeng maging art kung kahit ano, basta meron ng 4 na ito. Yun. Okay? So, in essence, na-discuss natin ang mga filosofiya. Na-discuss din natin kanina yung mga creative process. Na-discuss din natin yung medium and technique. Ngayon, tanong ko sa inyo, what do you think is the essence of art? So, please comment, no? In the comment section, what do you think is the essence of art? So, dyan natin tinatapos ang ating discussion sa tatlong ito. So, I hope you will really study this one. Papasa ko ang presentation na ito sa inyo. And I hope you have learned something and see you next meeting. Thank you very much.